Hi, my name is Aoife and we're here today at the Victorian Walled Garden Toolshed at Kylemore Abbey. With a living garden that has been here since 1867, we get a sense of history across 3 centuries and 3 different owners that each left their mark on the estate. But with so much history and with a living, growing, constantly evolving garden, we run the risk of losing history and we must seek to preserve that. Here we are inside the Toolshed to trace the history of the gardens. So the history of the gardens begins in 1867 when Mitchell Henry first came here to Kylemore and first laid the foundation stones of a castle and the garden here at Kylemore. Here's a picture of him here. Mitchell Henry was really ambitious. He wanted to create the biggest gardening project outside of Dublin. So he hired Mr. James Garnier as the head gardener, and together they set out on this ambitious project. And ambitious indeed it was. They had over 21 of these glass houses here where they were heated and they could grow all sorts of exotic fruits and vegetables like grapes, melons, nectarines, bananas, you name it, they had them in the Victorian Walled Gardens. Mitchell Henry made sure as well that they would have plenty of violets and ferns, as were most fashionable in London at the time, so his daughter and wife would have plenty of those. Mitchell Henry employed over 40 workers to make this garden happen, and here are some of the Victorian tools that they would have used. In 1920 saw the arrival of the Benedictine nuns fleeing the First World War in Belgium, and they worked to restore the gardens. The project was first led by Dame Benedict Curtis and then later led by Sister Benedict O'Byrne. Indeed, through the mid-20th century, the nuns were growing all of their own fruit and vegetables in the gardens here, but by the 1980s, this level of production proved impossible to maintain on their own. And once again, the gardens were left to grow wild. So, in 1995, a garden committee was assembled, led by Sister Magdalena Fitzgibbon, and together with locals and head gardeners, a team of people were assembled, and indeed they started restoring the gardens for good. And on the 13th of October in the year 2000, the gardens were reopened to the public for all to enjoy, back to their former glory. But that wasn't the end here, because of course, with so many different owners, so much history, we run the risk always of losing this history again. And without preserving that history, it becomes at risk. So that's why we have the Toolshed that was opened just last April by Catherine Connolly, our lovely president. Indeed, this building now as a museum exhibit helps to trace the history of the gardens and remember the names of the people that helped make this garden happen, bring it to life, and also remembering what the garden looked like through different objects throughout that were found in the restoration of the gardens. So, through the Toolshed, we're one step closer to unlocking the history of the Kylemore Victorian Walled Gardens.